Tonight, I want to talk about something that feels small on the surface, but carries the weight of an entire heart. There was a moment when I realized something beautiful was happening behind the scenes. Quiet conversations, secret smiles, little plans being whispered when I wasn't around. My family, the people who have known me since my first breath, were planning a surprise for you. And in that moment, I understood something deeper than excitement. I understood acceptance. I understood love growing roots. Because families don't plan surprises for strangers. They plan surprises for the people they already feel belong. And the truth is, watching them prepare something for you felt like watching two worlds gently collide. My past, my memories, my childhood, slowly opening its doors to the person who holds my present and my future. It felt like love was no longer just a feeling between two people. It was becoming a home. This speech, this moment is about that quiet miracle. The kind of love that doesn't just stay between us, but becomes big enough for everyone we care about. I never believed that a simple secret could carry so much emotion inside it. Secrets are usually small things, temporary things, moments that pass and disappear like whispers in the wind. But this one felt different from the very beginning. I could feel it before I even knew what it was. The small pauses in conversations when you entered the room, the sudden smiles that appeared when your name was mentioned, the way my family started asking questions about the things you love, the things you enjoy, the tiny details that most people would never think to ask. At first, I didn't understand it. I thought maybe it was just curiosity. Maybe it was just politeness. Maybe it was the natural way families behave when someone new steps into their world. But slowly, quietly, piece by piece, the truth began to unfold in front of me like a sunrise. My family was planning something for you, something secret, something gentle, something filled with intention. And the moment I realized it, something shifted inside my heart because families don't plan surprises for strangers. They don't spend their time, their energy, their love on someone who doesn't matter. They don't whisper in corners and exchange secret smiles for someone who is temporary. Families do that for someone who feels like home. You, you became that person without even trying. I started noticing the details after that. The way my mother would ask what your favorite colors were, as if she were memorizing them for a painting she hadn't started yet. The way my father would pretend not to care, but quietly listen whenever your name came up in conversation. The way everyone seemed to carry a little spark of excitement whenever they talked about the future, as if they were already imagining you inside it. And I realized something beautiful, something that felt bigger than romance, bigger than butterflies, bigger than the quiet late-night conversations we share when the world falls asleep. Love had moved beyond just the two of us. It had started growing roots. There is something deeply powerful about seeing the people who raised you begin to care for the person you love. It feels like watching two chapters of your life slowly merge into one story. Your childhood, your memories, your past, all gently opening their doors to your present. And suddenly the distance between who you were and who you are begins to disappear. I used to think love was a private thing, something fragile that lived quietly between two hearts, something that existed in small moments, in soft glances, in words whispered when nobody else could hear. And it is all of those things. It always will be. But I never understood that love can also become something bigger, something shared, something that expands until it touches every corner of your life. The day I realized my family was planning a surprise for you, I felt a kind of warmth I had never experienced before. Not the kind that burns bright and fades quickly, but the kind that settles deep inside your chest and stays there. The kind that feels like safety, like belonging, like the quiet certainty that you are exactly where you are meant to be. I kept imagining the moment they would finally reveal it. The look on your face, the surprise in your eyes, the smile that always feels like sunlight breaking through clouds. And every time I imagined it, I felt the same thought echoing in my mind. You are no longer just someone I love. You are someone my world is making space for. And that realization changes everything. Because love is not just about two people choosing each other. It's about two lives slowly intertwining until it becomes impossible to tell where one ends and the other begins. It's about the people who shaped you learning to see the person who now shapes your future. It's about the quiet, invisible bridges that form between hearts long before anyone speaks about them out loud. My family planning a surprise for you was in just a kind gesture. It was a silent language, a language that said, We see what you see, we feel what you feel, we trust what you trust. It was their way of telling me that the happiness I found in you mattered to them too, and that realization carried a kind of emotion I don't think words were ever meant to hold. Because there is something incredibly humbling about watching the people who gave you life begin to care about the person who gives your life meaning. It made me think about the journey that brought us here, all the small moments that felt insignificant at the time, but somehow led us to this place. The conversations that lasted longer than they should have, the silences that felt more comfortable than words, the way everything slowly began to feel natural, effortless, inevitable. Love rarely arrives like a storm. It arrives quietly. It sits beside you without asking for attention. It becomes part of your routine before you even realize it. And one day you wake up and discover that the idea of life without it feels impossible. That's what this surprise represents to me. Not just excitement, not just celebration, but acceptance. A quiet, beautiful acceptance that feels stronger than any grand declaration. I keep thinking about the effort behind it, the planning, the conversations, the tiny details being carefully chosen with you in mind, all the invisible moments that exist before a surprise becomes real, the thought that people spent their time thinking about how to make you smile, how to make you feel welcomed, how to make you feel like you belong. That kind of effort doesn't come from obligation, it comes from love. And seeing that love reach toward you feels like watching my two worlds finally meet. The world that raised me and the world that changed me. The world that taught me what love looks like, and the world that showed me what love feels like. Sometimes I wonder if you realize how quietly powerful your presence has been, how naturally you stepped into my life and began to reshape it without force, without pressure, without expectation. Like sunlight entering a room through an open window, you didn't ask for a place, you simply became part of the space. And now, without even realizing it, you've become part of the people who built that space. There is something deeply poetic about that, something that feels almost unreal, because life rarely moves in perfect circles. It rarely ties moments together so gently. And yet here we are, standing in the middle of a story that feels like it has been writing itself long before we understood what it meant. When my family started planning the surprise, they probably thought they were just preparing a happy moment, a simple memory, a small celebration. But what they were really creating was something much bigger, a bridge between past and future, between history and possibility, between who I was and who I am becoming, and you are standing right in the middle of it. I think that's what makes this moment so emotional for me. It isn't just about the surprise itself, it's about what it represents. The quiet shift from someone important to me to someone important to us. That one small change carries a universe of meaning inside it, because love grows in stages. It begins as a spark, then becomes a flame, then becomes warmth. And one day, without warning, it becomes a home, a place where everything feels steady and safe and real. Watching my family prepare something for you felt like watching the foundation of that home being built, brick by brick, smile by smile, secret by secret. And the most beautiful part is that you don't even know how deeply you've touched their lives just by being part of mine. You didn't try to impress them. You didn't try to win them over. You simply existed the way you always do. Genuine, kind, real, and somehow that was more than enough. It makes me realize how rare it is to find someone who fits into your life so naturally that even the people who have known you forever can feel it, feel the difference, feel the happiness, feel the quiet change in the way you talk about the future. Because the future no longer feels like a distant idea. It feels like a shared destination, a place we are slowly walking toward together without rushing, without fear, without hesitation. And somewhere along the way, the people who love me began walking beside us too. That's what this surprise truly means to me. It means you are no longer walking alone beside me. You are walking beside all of us. And there is something incredibly comforting about that thought. Something that makes the world feel softer, kinder, more stable. It feels like the beginning of a story that doesn't need grand promises to feel real, just small gestures, small surprises, small moments that quietly say everything words cannot. I used to think the word forever was too big for ordinary moments. It sounded like something that belonged in movies or in stories told long after they ended. It felt distant, almost unreachable, like a horizon you can see but never touch. But then something changed in me the day I realized my family was planning a surprise for you. Suddenly, forever didn't feel distant anymore. It felt close, quiet, real, like something that could exist inside an ordinary day without announcing itself, because forever doesn't always arrive with fireworks. Sometimes it arrives disguised as small gestures, quiet plans, whispered conversations in another room, a group of people coming together to make someone feel loved. A surprise doesn't seem like a promise at first. It looks like excitement. It looks like celebration. It looks like a simple act of kindness. But when it comes from family, it carries a deeper meaning beneath the surface. It becomes a message spoken without words, a message that says, "We are making space for you in our lives," and space is a powerful thing. We make space for what matters. We make space for what we hope will stay. We make space for the things we don't want to lose. When my family began planning something for you, they were doing more than organizing a moment. They were creating space quietly, gently, without needing to explain why. And when I realized that, I felt something shift inside me in a way I had never felt before. It felt like the future had taken one small step closer. There is something deeply emotional about watching the people who raised you begin to imagine someone else inside their future. It's subtle, almost invisible. You don't notice it at first. It appears in tiny ways, in the questions they ask, in the way they listen when you talk about that person, in the way their curiosity slowly turns into care, and one day, without warning, you realize they are no longer asking about someone new. They are talking about someone who already feels familiar. You. It's a quiet transformation, but it carries enormous weight because family is history. Family is memory. Family is everything that existed before love found its way into your life. And when that history begins to open its doors to someone new, it feels like time itself is welcoming them. I keep thinking about how strange and beautiful it is that love can grow this way, that it can move beyond two people and become something shared, something collective, something bigger than either of us ever planned. When you love someone, you expect your own heart to change, you expect your world to shift, but you never really expect the worlds around you to start shifting too. And yet, they do, slowly, quietly, without asking permission. A surprise planned by family is never just about the day it happens. It's about all the days that come after. It's about the invisible message that lingers long after the decorations disappear and the laughter fades into memory. The message that says, "We see a future where you are still here." That idea carries a kind of gravity that is difficult to explain, because the future is the most fragile thing we have. It exists only in imagination, only in hope, only in quiet dreams we rarely speak out loud. And yet, when people start planning for someone as if they will still be part of tomorrow, those dreams begin to feel real. I think that's what made this moment so powerful for me. It wasn't just about seeing my family care about you, it was about realizing they were already imagining you in the days we haven't lived yet, and that realization changes how you see everything. Suddenly, the future stops feeling like a question. It starts feeling like a direction. I find myself thinking about all the invisible threads that connect moments like this. How one small gesture can carry the weight of 1,000 unspoken feelings. How one simple surprise can hold the quiet promise of years that haven't happened yet. Because forever is not built in one grand moment. It's built in tiny pieces, in shared smiles, in silent understanding, in gestures that seem small but carry enormous meaning. A surprise is one of those pieces. It's a sign that someone is worth the effort, worth the time, worth the planning, worth the excitement of keeping a secret just to see them smile. And when that effort comes from family, it becomes something even more meaningful. It becomes a bridge between love and belonging, between emotion and acceptance, between today and tomorrow. I keep imagining the moment you discover what they planned, the confusion turning into realization, the realization turning into surprise, the surprise turning into that smile that always feels brighter than it should be. And I know that in that moment, something invisible will happen. A memory will be created that doesn't just belong to us. It will belong to all of us. And memories shared with family feel different. They feel heavier, stronger, like they are anchored in something deeper than time. Because family memories don't fade easily, they become stories, stories told years later with the same warmth, the same laughter, the same quiet happiness that existed when they first happened. One day, this surprise will become one of those stories. A story about the moment my family decided to show you how much you matter. A story about the moment you became part of something bigger than either of us. And thinking about that fills me with a kind of calm I can't fully explain. The kind that settles deep inside your chest and stays there. the kind that makes the future feel less uncertain and more welcoming. It makes me realize that forever isn't a promise we make with words. It's a promise we make with actions, with effort, with the quiet decision to keep choosing someone again and again, day after day. My family choosing to plan something for you feels like one of those actions. A quiet choice, a gentle step towards something lasting. Because forever doesn't happen all at once. It happens slowly in moments so small we almost miss them, in gestures so simple we don't realize how much they mean until much later. And this moment is one of those gestures, one of those quiet steps, one of those invisible promises. I used to think forever was something we had to chase, something far away that we might reach someday if we were lucky. But now I understand that forever is something we build, something we create piece by piece without even noticing. Every shared laugh, every shared plan, every shared secret, every surprise. And this surprise feels like a piece of that forever being placed gently into our hands. It feels like a quiet promise wrapped in excitement, a future wrapped in kindness, a story wrapped in love. Because when the people who raised you start making plans that include the person you love, they are doing more than planning a moment. They are welcoming a future. They are opening a door that was once closed. They are saying, without words, that they can see the path you are walking and they are willing to walk beside you. And that kind of silent support is one of the most powerful forms of love that exists. It makes the world feel less uncertain, less fragile, less temporary. It makes forever feel possible. And maybe that's the most beautiful part of all of this. Not the surprise itself, not the celebration, not even the moment you discover what they planned, but the quiet understanding that will remain long after the moment passes, the understanding that you are no longer just part of my present, you are part of the future my family has already begun to imagine.